Hey, welcome to WrestleMania Wednesday. I'm your host, Don, and today we're going to be talking about Summerslam 2016. What?
You're watching So Awkward. This is Freddy Krueger saying, hi!
We've been talking about, the past 19 WrestleManias, going back to the 80s, like 85 or 86 was it? So I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at what's going on right now. I was at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York on August 21st, 2016, just 2 days ago. This was a really good pay-per-view. I liked it a lot. You'll hear mixed things from other people online, but I thought it was great for the most part. The biggest complaint I have about it is that it was 4 hours long, not counting the 2-hour pre-show. So people who were there live were there for 6 hours. That's insane. Just watching it on TV, it was really long. You could really feel it. At times it dragged. But for the most part, it was pretty good. We opened with a tag team match. Enzo and Big Cass versus Jericho and Kevin Owens. Jericho we've talked about on WrestleMania Wednesday. These other guys are newcomers. This match was fine. It wasn't great. I love all four of these guys, especially Jericho and Kevin Owens. They're two of my favorites. Enzo and Big Cass are really funny and charismatic, and they are great talkers, and they give great promos. But the reason this match wasn't great is because Enzo and Cass aren't great wrestlers. They're good wrestlers. They're very good wrestlers. They're pretty good wrestlers. They've skyrocketed to the top because of their charisma and their charm and their likability. They're super funny, both of them. Enzo talks more and he's funnier, but I also really like Big Cass. I think he doesn't get enough credit, and he's the better wrestler. But Jericho and Kevin Owens can have a great match with anybody. This one was okay. It was okay. Next up was the Women's Championship match. It was champion Sasha Banks defending against Charlotte. The rematch, because in the previous pay-per-view, Charlotte lost the title to Sasha Banks. This one was awesome. I loved this match. I didn't necessarily have high hopes for it. I'm not a huge Charlotte fan, so I didn't think this was going to be an amazing match, but it turned out to kind of be an amazing match. They both were amazing. Charlotte has gotten a lot better since she ditched Ric Flair, her father. Just that whole gimmick got really tired and annoying and played out, so they made the right decision to have her go without him. She's the better for it. She's a really good wrestler. This match, I was rooting for Sasha to retain the title, but Charlotte was so good that I was getting so impressed with her wrestling that I had a turn and I started to root for Charlotte. So when Charlotte won and became the champion again, I was excited and I was really happy with that, because I literally thought to myself, Charlotte deserves to win this, and she did. This was just a great match. This may be the match of the night for me, just because I had so much fun watching it. The story they told was great, and I didn't expect it to be that great. Anyway, then we had the Intercontinental title match. It was The Miz defending his title against Apollo Crews. I wrote down in my notes, bored now. I didn't even see the whole thing because I literally, a few minutes into the match, I went to the kitchen to refill my iced tea, and while I was in the kitchen, it ended, and I came back and I saw the replay. I don't know much about Apollo Crews. I like The Miz. I think he's underrated as well. Solid wrestler, but he's amazing on the mic. Nobody's as funny as The Miz. He's a natural. So I like him a lot and I respect his talents, but this match was boring. Then we had AJ Styles versus John Cena. These two have had a feud going for the past few months, and they've had a bunch of matches and they've all been great. This is the greatest. This was an amazing match. Two just phenomenal wrestlers having a phenomenal match. It was just, it was long, it was exciting, lots of near falls, just some amazing athleticism on display by both guys, especially AJ Styles, who is amazing. One of the greatest wrestlers I've ever seen. Instantly, he's only been in, since last year, but he's already probably my favorite guy out there now. him or maybe Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns. I'm a Roman Reigns fan. Just a great match. Really exciting, really fun. It's gonna all-time classic. Probably the match of the night overall. I was just so impressed with the ladies' title that I kind of enjoyed that one more. But this one was great. It kind of had a weird ending where after he lost, John Cena took off his Never Give Up armbands and he left them in the ring, and then he slowly walked out, and before he went backstage, he saluted like solemnly. So I don't know where they're going with that. Is he retiring? Is he going to become a bad guy? What's happening with John Cena? I don't see John Cena retiring. I think he'll die in the ring before he retires. But I don't know. Then we had Jon Stewart come out and do a little promo that wasn't very good. He was also a part of last year's SummerSlam, which was in Brooklyn as well. He's a New York guy. But it wasn't that interesting. But it led into the match for the tag titles. Champions New Day defending against the Club. And he was a part of the finish where he went into the ring to help the New Day or something, and then the Club started to beat him up, so Big E runs out to save him, and there's a disqualification, and it's just, this match kind of sucked. And I'm a New Day fan. I love New Day. After this video, I'm gonna go and eat my bootios, but this match was lame. Then we had the WWE World Championship match, and I'm being very specific when I say WWE World Championship, because there's another title that was debuting this evening, the Universal title. I want to make sure I differentiate between the two. This is getting confusing. Anyway, champion Dean Ambrose defending against Dolph Ziggler. Two great wrestlers, kind of a boring match. If you ever want to see an example of how a crowd can impact a wrestling match, this is something to watch. The crowd was so quiet, so unengaged, that a pretty decent match felt really boring and lackluster because of the lack of reaction from the crowd. I think the crowd was just so blown away by the AJ Styles John Cena match that they just needed the next 45 minutes just to recuperate from it. It was a fine match, just it wasn't as exceptional as it should have been from these two wrestlers. I was rooting for Dolph Ziggler, but Dean Ambrose retained the title. Then we had a 6-woman tag match. Naomi, Carmella, and Becky Lynch versus Natalya, Alexa Bliss, and it was supposed to be Ava Marie, but she was suspended for violating their wellness policy. But in the universe of WWE, they had this announcement saying that she was taking time off because of exhaustion, and it was really funny. So they were announcing her new replacement, which was a surprise, and it was the return of Nikki Bella, who has been out for 6 or 7 months because she broke her neck. She had neck surgery. She had a brace for a while with one of those things that screws into your head. So this was her big return. The crowd went nuts. It was cool seeing her again. I like Nikki Bella. She comes out and she does that little butt twist, which is just the best thing ever. Nikki Bella is kind of a throwback to the old 90s, early 2000 female wrestlers who were just eye candy. But Nikki Bella backs it up by being a really good wrestler and a really amazing athlete. I think Nikki Bella is great. Anyway, this match, this was a really solid tag team match. One where all 6 competitors got to have their little moment in the ring, and everybody did really well. Everybody did some impressive stuff, especially Becky Lynch. She was the best. Becky Lynch is just the best in general. She's great. But ultimately, Nikki Bella got the pin. I think she pinned the blonde one, I think. Carmella. I'm not too familiar with some of these people. I've never seen Carmella before, but like I said, everybody was really good, and this was a really satisfying match. Then we had the WWE Universal Championship match, which was created because now Raw and SmackDown, the 2 wrestling shows, had a brand split where there's now Raw wrestlers and SmackDown wrestlers, and they don't meet up. But since Dean Ambrose is on SmackDown and he has the title, they created a different title for Raw. They had a tournament on Raw, I guess the past couple weeks, to see who would fight at SummerSlam, and it was Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. I was a little shocked to see him already getting a title shot, because this is his first pay-per-view. He's only really been in WWE for like a month. I'm not saying he hasn't paid his dues. He's paid his dues all over the world, Japan, NXT, wherever. I was rooting for Seth Rollins. I'm a Seth Rollins fan. I think Seth Rollins is arguably the greatest wrestler out there today. But Finn Balor won and became the first ever Universal Champion, which I also felt like, Finn Balor? I like Finn Balor. I think he's incredibly talented, and he deserves to be champion someday. I just think this. I was a little shocked that he won the title this early in his career. I'm the only person on the planet who's critical of Finn Balor. I don't love Finn Balor. I like Finn Balor. Someday I'll probably love him, but right now I'm more of a Seth Rollins fan, so I was rooting for him. But it was a really great match. As it turned out, apparently Finn Balor, I didn't know this at the time, we learned this like the day after, Finn Balor dislocated his shoulder in the match, and he literally popped it back in and kept fighting. And this was like the start of the match. So he had like a 20-minute fight after he popped his dislocated shoulder back in. And so he had to already the next day get surgery, so he dropped the title, and they're having another tournament to determine who's going to be the next Universal Champion. So props to Finn Balor for that. That's impressive. So ultimately this match kind of meant nothing, but it did cement Finn Balor as a legit badass and a major superstar. So congratulations to him. It definitely made me respect him more. Then we had a really weird commercial / promo. It was for Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was Dolph Ziggler, remember him? Dressed up as Colonel Sanders wrestling The Miz, who was dressed up like a chicken. It was an ad for their new Chicken Little sandwich or something. It was really weird, but really funny. It was a good commercial. Props to Dolph Ziggler. He did a good Colonel Sanders. Props to The Miz. He was a good chicken. Next up, we had the U.S. title on the line. It was champion Rusev defending against Roman Reigns. Why are people still booing Roman Reigns? I like Roman Reigns. People can boo him all they want. He goes out there and he has great matches. Great match after great match. This wasn't a great match. This wasn't even a match. This was weird. This was really weird. They started fighting before the bell even rang, so the match never actually started. And Rusev broke a rib or something somehow on like a chair or something. So the doctors came in and they stopped the fight. But then Roman speared him while the doctors were looking at him and destroyed his ribs even more. So the fight never happened. The whole thing was about 5 minutes long. So I don't know where they're going with this. Is Roman a bad guy now? Is Rusev a good guy? I hope not, because Rusev is a great villain. This was weird. And it was disappointing because I was legitimately looking forward to this match because I love Rusev and Roman Reigns. I think they're both great. And this would have been a really good match. Then we had the main event. Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton, who's also been out for, seems like a year. I don't know. When was the last time we saw Randy Orton wrestle? But he's making his return against the Beast, Brock Lesnar. This match has been very controversial. Very mixed reviews. I don't know how I felt about it. It was another Brock Lesnar squash match where he just does suplex after suplex after suplex and just destroys his opponent, which is what he's been doing in every match lately, and it's getting really old and boring. Randy Orton got in some good spots. He RKO'd him out of nowhere on the table, and then did the DDT off the rope, and it looked like Randy was going to take him, but then Brock went crazy and started hitting him over and over again, busted his head open, like legit busted his head open. I mean, I think it was part of the story. He was supposed to. But I've never seen so much blood, so I'm pretty sure something went wrong. Like, he cut him a little too much. Like, just a dark, deep, thick pool of blood on the ring. Like, I've never seen so much blood. Like, it was shocking. That was weird, and I didn't enjoy that. I wanted Randy to win. And then, so the doctors all came in looking at Randy to, patch him up and stop the bleeding, as well they should, because that was a lot of blood. Like, legitimately, they needed to help him. So, but as part of the storyline, Brock went crazy and pushed the doctors away and started hitting him again. So then the referee finally stopped the match. And this is where it pissed me off as a fan, as somebody watching the story. I felt betrayed because I assumed clearly they're going to disqualify Brock because he pushed a doctor and started beating a wounded man. But the referee said Brock was the winner by TKO. What is this, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out? They have TKOs in wrestling? Have they always had that? I can't remember one. I thought that was really lame and insulting to me as a viewer, because I don't think that's what they displayed. They clearly displayed a disqualification. So I don't know if that was the play from the beginning and if Brock just went a little too far in character, but they went with the TKO anyway. It was just weird. If Brock had been disqualified, I would have said this was a great match because it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of really cool stuff. Would have vindicated Randy and made him look strong. Whereas as it is now, it did nothing for Randy. It really didn't do that much for Brock because it was just kind of a weird way to end it. I used to really love Brock Lesnar. I think everybody did, but lately his last few matches have just been getting more and more and more and more boring and stale. I'm not necessarily a huge Brock fan anymore. So I was hoping Randy would kick his butt, but he didn't. But overall, it was a really good pay-per-view. It was just way too long. But we did get 2 awesome women's matches. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, amazing. And AJ Styles, John Cena, one of the best matches of all time. That was instant classic. Anyway, that's WrestleMania Wednesday, even though it wasn't. I'll see you next Wednesday, and we'll actually talk about WrestleMania. I also watched, because right after SummerSlam, it was the premiere of Holy Foley, the reality show about Mick Foley and his family, especially his daughter, Noelle. I was like, oh, I'll check this out for a minute, but I watched the entire thing. Awful. Just your typical scripted, fake reality show, but I couldn't turn away. Mick Foley is great. He's always funny. His daughter is the most beautiful woman on the planet, and it was just such a train wreck, and yet oddly charming and engaging. I recommend checking that out too. It was a lot of fun.